as head of state of all democratic nations like France. He should have toned down his comments a little and not shown disrespect or contempt for the African president. But when Africans decide on their sovereignty, and he's in no position to question this, they should know that the world has changed.
Greetings, families. Welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Well. Africa is angry. Africa is reacting towards that toward the speech that President Macron has given. I must say that he's very, very lucky that he gave that speech at the time that Ghana inauguration ceremony was on the way. So people cast their mind a bit off it, but people are reacting. A lot of people, presidents, leaders are angry because he has really insulted Africa. And as you heard from our brother, I put a lot of videos together reacting on the street of Burkina Faso alone. Please, I'll be back, families. Listen.
This outing shows a visibly annoyed French president, in loss of confidence according to the people of Ouagbillers, as long as his remarks in no way detract from the sovereignist approach and vision of the ES heads of state. The different reactions of citizens with Bernard. A speech by a head of state, agony. This is how Burkina interpret the words of the President of the French Republic. An intervention which, according to its citizens, shows the world how little he knows history. Indeed, many see this outing as an opportunity to give President Macron a few history lessons on the Franco-Afrique relationship during the Second World War. Without Africa, Paris would have been taken, and today may be an annex for Germany. What's gratitude? They are the ungrateful ones, they are not grateful. You defended France in the First and Second World Wars. President Macron made his statement from a position of weakness. Today, as you know, the exit of the three countries has a real cost for France. It's total chaos for France, and all the laughing he's doing, I think it's resentment. It's an anger he's got inside him. But we don't have anger. We're just looking for our freedom, because that freedom is not up for negotiation, especially not for events. This is the opinion of true Ouagbillers. For them, this has no effect on the sovereignist vision. Leaders of the Confederation of Sahel States, who are currently fighting the good fight to defeat terrorism. Everything he's had to say in his communication, his interests, and on the other hand we hear, it reinforces. The head of state says they really got it right. An opportunity for these Burkina to salute the vision of the three heads of state of the ES. Leaders who, for them, are the embodiment of true modern Pan-Africanist leaders, committed to the dignity, respect and sovereignty not only of their countries but also of the African continent, gathered the opinions of Burkina Faso citizens on these remarks by French President Emmanuel Macron. Any views on the withdrawal of French troops from Africa? Interview by Yannick Debayer and Cadrome. It's contempt and it's unanimous in public opinion. Bourbelais President Macron's statement that the departure of French troops had been negotiated between the African countries that decreed it and France. As head of state of all democratic nations like France, he should have toned down his comments a little and not shown disrespect or contempt for the African president. But when Africans decide on their sovereignty, and he's in no position to question this, they should know that the world has changed. The old-timers of the 60s are gone. It's the new generations who went to the same schools as the French leaders and who have no faith in them. They don't have a complex about the French, so they understand that. We're no longer in that frame of mind, and it was with a twinge of regret that we listened to President Macron's remarks yesterday. We're sorry to say that he's still very arrogant, and it's a pity. Doesn't remember his country's history. The statement went viral on social networks, and President Macron was seen by some as a habitual language abuser. The fact that he said that ungrateful there, since the compliment teaches us to be polite, no matter what situation we find ourselves in, we should never disrespect each other. When you say that the head of state have been ungrateful to France, I believe that he hasn't really the right to say so, because with these counterparts, you have to know how to speak as it is in the diplomatic world. That's what you have to do. It's also a credit to France that they are saying the right things. They say they want to leave and then they ask for more recognition from our African revolutionary peoples. We say we don't owe them anything. On the contrary, if anyone owes anyone anything, they owe us.
Thank you so much, families. I'm just imagining some of you, if they give that mic to you, what will come out from your mouth? It won't be present. I know. Please keep the comment politely. So I know everyone is annoyed, but for them not to come for us, please try to control yourself. But this is not the first time he's entitled. And I'm just hoping and wishing that the AES will soon change that money.
According to professional estimates by Key Serbo, there are around 176,800 Africans who went to Europe to help Europeans escape Adolf Hitler's traps. So, as far as I'm concerned, they are the ungrateful ones. A statement that could deal a blow to diplomatic relations between France and Africa. But we must be wary, because politicians come and go, but nations and peoples remain, and continue to undo the relations that were once between France and Africa. Yes, this can have an impact on diplomacy, on relations. That's it, but we have to remember one thing: people outlive leaders. Macron, soon, he will leave. The LSE and the French people? Who is a friend of the people of Burkina Faso, who is a friend of the people of Africa and a friend of the people of the Sahel in general? That's how their relationship will continue. We think that, well, he's arrogant, we see it, we take note, and he'll leave and the people will survive. The people will stay and relations will continue and perhaps improve, so that we can treat each other as equals. France doesn't need their help, because we're starting out on our own. Burkina Faso, the African country, doesn't need France to develop, because from this very day we can see that it's France itself that needs us. Beyond the contempt deciphered by the people in this statement by President Macron, this message for some will end up convincing even the most skeptical that Africa can't count. On itself for its development and sovereignty. French soldiers have been driven out of Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, and Côte d'Ivoire. Logically,
yes, families, I like what the students have said. They want to teach him a lesson. They want to show him or tell him their own history, because he thinks that Africa is the same and nothing changed. People can now see. They can see everything behind the democracy. They can see everything. Family, please listen to more. I'll be back. Thank you for your time.
News prompted a wave of reactions in Burkina Faso. First and foremost among analysts and specialists. For some, Macron's announcement is nothing new. Dada Ouattara Williams Kabori French president's address to the 30th Conference of Ambassadors is nothing new under the sun, according to some Burkina analysts, but he's doing nine with old methods. No one can be surprised on all counts. And no one can be surprised by what they say. From the former metropolis. The representative of the former metropolis, who still has a colonial view of relations between African countries and the countries of the Highlands and France, it is a colonial reading. For them, it is not normal. Only subjugated people. It's not right that colonized countries shouldn't have a duty to defend the metropolis in some way, and that they shouldn't ask the metropolis to help them defend themselves. For them, it's not normal. You have to realize that nothing has changed since we first met and with the slave trade. It's the format that's changed. Otherwise, the bottom line is Western hegemony and domination, so nothing has changed. So, in effect, they are still the ones taking the initiative. The West has always been perfidious. Civilizations, while you see one we were treated as savages, then we denounced, it passes independence, but it became neocolonialism. They came back with development and democracy. Where are we in tourism? So each time they adapt to their mission of exploitation. Only at the level of ES, one of the robbers in France uses to secure his influence in Africa and amputate, but many tentacles remain. You'll get the departure of military bases in the three countries, a kind of end to imperialism? In reality, only part of the system has been affected. Bulk of the system is to be found in the private sector, in the economy with the big companies, the currency, the CFA franc too. So that's why the French presenter says they haven't backed down yet. It's true that the French army was in Africa to protect these plundering devices. The fact that he's gone gives us a degree of sovereignty to be able to dismantle the rest of the system. And the look on the face of the man who claims to collaborate with African countries on an equal footing hasn't changed. Hunt the natural, it returns to the present cap. When it comes to relations with Africa, Macron suffers from what is known in French as UN tropism. In other words, it's a way of looking at a situation that leads this person to behave in the same way over and over again. For him, it may be a difficult episode for them, and they'll get over it in the end. Which means that one doesn't change one's way of thinking at all, and moreover one's way of talking about Macron. It suits the French political class. It's neither contemptuous nor really a circuit breaker. As some were indignant. I didn't. He spoke the truth. And if you noticed, all those who had followed the AIS recognized themselves in his words, precisely because they had proclaimed them. That's what some of the units suspected, but they had the proof, they had even provided the proof. I think that Macron's statement is proof that confirms their assertions. Meanwhile, France says it is reorganizing its military presence in Africa. So that it is less visible and more effective in protecting its interests.
I think he has exposed himself. President Macron has exposed himself. And if you come across this video, President Macron, you shouldn't have said that, because we know everything, the games, the agenda of all of you, we know that already. But for you to be so upset and saying that they haven't asked you to move, you want to go and organize it. Well, the word organization itself proves what General Tianin has said. And so you have just exposed yourself. And now Africa and the world has known that without Africa, as they always say, France would not exist. Right now, Africa is poor, as some of you call it, very poor. So what do you want in Africa? What exactly do you want in Africa, in a poor country? What do a rich man, I will not generalize it by saying French people. No, French people has nothing to do about it. It's the government. What do you want? And there are organizations behind them. Because at the end of the day, when it's election time, it's them that will be contributing a lot of money towards the election. So when they get a contract in Africa, they have to back them. And I will never forget a video I watched that even Nigeria is a company of Britain. A whole country is a company of Britain. And sometimes they share it with France. Just like Canada is Britain's. I'll leave you here. please leave comment. Like I said, keep it light. And if I cannot reply your comment, I will just say thank you for listening, because sometimes I I can't help myself as well. So I will just thanks for listening, and I hope you understand now from now onwards. God bless you, all my VIPs, my kids and quiz. Thank you so much. Credit to Faso Serving RTB News. Enjoy your day and stay blessed. God bless you. God will expose them continuously. He's so annoyed just because they asked him to leave a poor continent. Hmm. I'll be back, families.